Take It from Cree and Hetty, that's what I say, the wonderful duet that composed that fantastic jingle, and I'm so grateful for them. Thank you, Cree and Hetty. I'm Tara Bassett. I'm so glad to see you guys tonight, and what a wonderful night it is. Boy, that cold weather came back, Gary Vitito, and
yes, it did.
Came back with a vengeance, didn't it?
Yes, it did. So much different than yesterday.
I know. We were all walking around in T-shirts and shorts, and now we're back in our winter coats and long underwear. It's amazing in January. But my first guest, obviously, is going to be with us all throughout the hour of Take It from Tara, and it's Gary Vitito. He is a renowned musician throughout the state of Kentucky, and you probably know him best from his time at the Stephen Foster Story. How many opportunities would we have had to see you at Stephen Foster, Gary?
Well, I can't count all the opportunities, but the years would have been 30 or something.
Wow. So over 3 decades of contributing to the fantastic music, and he's brought both of his axes with him today, literally. He's got his guitar, he's got his banjo, and he's going to entertain us throughout the hour. But first, we want to talk a little bit. When I said that, I reminded myself of Julie Chen, and there's a really good reason, because we have somebody here who's just really special that's related to Julie Chen. But let me just run you down real quick before you and I get into our conversation. By the way, the show is brought to you by Stephen Seagal Real Estate and Bardstown Road Physical Therapy Group. You guys probably remember that Teresa Scherfius was on with us a few weeks ago to talk about the benefits of physical therapy. She had so much fun, she decided to sponsor the show for a week. So we thank Teresa and the Bardstown Road Physical Therapy Group, as well as Steve Galt, who sponsored the Morton Center, which is a great center for helping folks with addictions in Louisville. Really appreciate them both. So, we have a great mix of topics this evening. There is a person in town, actually a couple in town, that has a great framing place, but they really focus on making things very, very reduce, reuse, recyclable. So they're very green in their technology. We are so excited to talk to Brenda Haley with Frames of Mind, who's going to talk to us about the greenest ways to preserve our memories. Digital photos, all kinds of different things. And Beth Andrews of Hoof and Hound Photography and meteorologist extraordinaire joins us today. If you've ever wanted to know how to capture a moving animal, this is the woman to ask, and she'll give you a weathercast in the process. Kathy Schmidt from Crescent Hill Trading Company was supposed to be with us tonight, and we're sorry that she's not, but we want to acknowledge her once again for providing all of the components of our wonderful reduced, reused, and recycled set here on Take It from Tara. So thank you very much to Kathy, and we'll catch you another time. And finally, the reason I reminded myself of Julie Chen, but first, is because Will Heiser is here tonight, and he was famous long before Big Brother. Let's just face it. Everybody in Louisville's always known who Will is. And he has brought along with him his latest muse and the star of one of his new The Will Show videos. It's Brittany herself, Tanya Ablin. So I'm going to introduce them a little bit later in the show, but first, and I have to do the head turn with it. You got to see it. On The Will Show, he imitates everybody on Big Brother. He's an impersonator extraordinaire. And he does Julie Chen, and he keeps saying, but first, but first, but first. It's hilarious. Okay, Gary, here we are. Talk to us about your years at Stephen Foster and the other shows that you do, because this is not the only kind of music that you perform. You've got everything from John Denver to James Taylor.
Right. Yeah, Stephen Foster was actually, I guess, kind of my step into maybe professional entertainment and music. But I was in college at Campbellsville University. I'm originally from Indiana. And I came to Kentucky to go to Campbellsville to go to school. My first year in Campbellsville, the director of music there said, can you come to this audition tomorrow for a Stephen Foster Story? And I'm going, what's Stephen Foster Story, you know? And but I did, and a few of others of us went to that audition. And auditioned, got in as a singer, and then they called me about 2 weeks before rehearsals started. And they said, we hear you play guitar. And I said, yes, I do. And they said, now, do you play banjo? I said, no, I don't play banjo. And they said, well, we just heard that our banjo player is not coming back.
Oh, no.
And would you be willing to learn?
Could you pick up the banjo in 24 hours? Is it possible?
So I met them halfway between Campbellsville and Bardstown in a little church parking lot. They brought me a cheap Japanese-made banjo and an Old Bay banjo book and the score to the Stephen Foster Story, and in 2 weeks I was playing the Stephen Foster Story on banjo.
That's absolutely incredible. There's
I've been
no
doing
comparison.
That for 33 years.
No comparison between these two instruments either.
No, there's
so
not.
you did really well.
They
That's
both
incredible.
have strings. That's about
They
it.
do. They both have strings, and they both are really fun to hear. Now, tell me a little bit more about the other shows that you do, because I know you're, like all of us, you're a contractor, you're a freelance, self-employed person. Making a living at music is always a challenge.
Yes.
So is making a living at radio. But anyway, you guys have have a great opportunity to go out and perform for all kinds of events and get paid for doing what you love. So talk to us.
Well, as I mentioned, Stephen Foster really kind of got me into that and pointed me in that direction, but it gave me a lot of opportunities to do things that I wouldn't have otherwise gotten to do. I think, as a matter of fact, I met you through a Stephen Foster person.
Absolutely.
At David Brown and Sharon's house one time.
Sharon and David, that's absolutely true.
So,
and, you know, all of us in the music community, the acting community, are all so close. I mean, everybody has great connections, and if you know one, you probably know most of them.
Right, that's true. But I'm very fortunate to be able to make my living at doing what I love to do.
Exactly.
And everything that I do is musical. I always tell people that if it's musical, moral, and money, I'll do it. You know, but
it should be all three, right?
Yeah. I fudge on some of those maybe sometimes, but you know, I'm very fortunate to be able to make my living doing what I do.
Yes.
And so that has led me then into doing these other shows, and I have done a John Denver tribute show, and I call that Take Me Home.
Cool.
And my partner Renee sings that with me, and she sings a part of Emmylou Harris. And,
nice, good combo.
So we do that show, and then I also do a James Taylor tribute show.
Love it.
And that includes a lot of the music from not only James Taylor, but other people from that time period, Crosby, Stills and Nash, and the Carpenters, and that sort of thing too. So, and then I do some educational shows. I do a World War II show, and in that show I actually portray my father, who was in World War II.
So were my parents.
And he was in the Navy. He was at D-Day.
So were my parents. Amazing.
How about that?
Yeah.
And his ship was struck 2 mines off the coast of Omaha Beach.
Incredible.
And there were 2,800 men on board. All 2,800 survived. They all were rescued. It was the largest amphibious rescue of all time.
Incredible.
And so I do that show, and I go to schools, I go to libraries, history centers, and that sort of thing. I go anywhere from Indiana to Florida. I spend a lot of time in Florida because, of course, there are a lot of retired places, retirement places in Florida. But I do that show a lot down there and in schools in Florida, and just tell the kids about the World War II and what it was all about, you know, and sing the songs of World War II, and then, of course, you've heard a little bit of my Civil War show, too, that I do as well. And it's the same sort of thing. We just talk about the Civil War, and I do the music of the Civil War, and we have a great time. Well,
you're reliving kind of what it was like in Stephen Foster's time, where oral history was an absolutely important way to get the message down. And now we have not only the written language in the books, but we have the internet and the social networking and everything that enables us to forget about the storytellers. And you're a storyteller by heart. I know you are, because you speak and you sing so articulately and beautifully.
Well, thank you.
Pick one of those shows right now that you want to share with us for your first little momentary musical performance, because I'm going to ask you to play in and out of my breaks and help my guests switch chairs and stuff, but right now it's all for you. Gary Vitito, pick a song.
Well, of course, John Denver. I grew up with John Denver.
Me too.
And I love a lot of his music, and there are so many of his songs, but this is probably one of my favorite John Denver songs. Simplest, but one of my favorites. There's a storm across the valley, clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on his shoulders. There's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away. The whining of his wheels just makes it colder. He's an hour away from riding on your prayers up in the sky. 10 days on the road are barely gone. There's a fire softly burning, supper's on the stove, but it's the light in your eyes that makes him warm. Hey, it's good to be back home again. Sometimes this old farm feels like a long lost friend. Yes, hey, it's good to be back home again. There's all the news to tell him how you spend your time. What's the latest thing the neighbors say? And your mother called last Friday. Sunshine made her cry. You felt the baby move just yesterday. Hey, it's good to be back home again. Yes, it is. Sometimes this old farm feels like a long-lost friend. Yes, hey, it's good to be back home again. Oh, the time when I can lay this tired old body down. Feel your fingers feather soft upon me. Kisses that I give you, the love that lights my way, happiness that living with you brings me. It's the sweetest thing I know of, just spending time with you. It's the little things that make a house a home. Like a fire softly burning, supper on the stove. The light in your eyes, it makes me warm. Hey, it's good to be back home again. Sometimes this old farm feels like a long-lost friend. Yes, and hey, it's good to be back home again. Hey, it's good to be back home again.
And when we come back, thank you for that beautiful musical interlude, Gary. We're going to learn from an expert how you can best capture your horses and hounds on camera. Beth Andrews of Horse and Hound Fine Photography joins us in the studio. First, we welcome Bardstown Road Physical Therapy Group as a sponsor this week on Take It From Tara. Be right back.
This show is sponsored in part by Bardstown Road Physical Therapy Group, which operates by the motto, "Our success is dependent upon our patients' success." Located at 4233 Bardstown Road, Suite 100C at the corner of Faganbush Lane, Bardstown Road Physical Therapy Group offers a medically
Come on in, girl.
the means to continually
Less than
restore
30
movement
seconds.
and promote the highest level of fitness for their patients.
Okay.
502-493-3800 or physicaltherapygroupinc.com. Bardstown Road Physical Therapy Group.
And thank you so much to Bardstown Road Physical Therapy Group for joining us as a sponsor. We interviewed Teresa Scherfius just a few weeks ago as a wonderful physical therapist herself, and she gave us so many hints, so many tips on how to make our health and our lives better through the use of physical therapy. So I love that.
Very important.
Yeah, if you ever get tired, your arms start getting sore, your fingers start getting worn out, check it out with Teresa. She'll be able to help you.
I'll do that.
I love that. Beth Andrews, great to
Hello.
see you.
How are you?
It's been a while, hasn't
It
it?
has been a while. Back in the weather days, I think.
Man alive, did we ever have a time in the weather
We
days?
did.
How in the world did you go from, I'd say, 80-plus hours a week as a certified broadcast meteorologist to carefree, self-employed horse and hound photographer? I'm dying to know.
You know, it was a journey. It was.
As it usually
I
is.
made a couple of stops along the way. It's just, you know, I've always loved photography. It's always been a big part of what I love to do. And, of course, I love animals. I have horses. I have dogs. I've grown up with
course.
animals. And it just seemed like a good fit. You know, just made a career out of it about 5 years ago.
Well, you know, whether they're the two or the four-legged variety,
Yes.
things in motion, our children, whether they're furry
Yes.
or not, have you just can't capture them. You can't catch them. I can't catch them without it being a big blur. So give us an idea of how to wrangle kids and dogs to get the best results on a camera.
Well, I'll tell you, it's all about catching. They're in motion, but it's just about catching that one image that's sort of captures their personality. So that's what I try to do. And when it comes to, I do dogs and horses mostly, and when it comes to them, I just have techniques about how to make them sort of respond to me, how to catch them. We talk about what their favorite things to do are, where they like to go, whether they're ball dogs or swimming dogs.
They answer you,
yeah,
absolutely.
They do. And,
Brady would say, I really like to swim in the Ohio River.
Yes, because I speak to them.
That's my favorite thing to
Do you
do.
have voices with your dogs?
I do. My dogs all have voices.
Some people do, and
Yes.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't
the white
judge.
jacket,
I don't
she
judge.
says.
But
Okay, so here's the key that you have to think about, seriously. These animals all do have personalities,
they
and to
do.
capture them, you really have to be able to know what they're doing, and you
Mm-hmm.
have quite an interesting background. A lot of people don't know about your secret skill sets.
Oh,
So
yes,
I want
there
you
are
to
many.
share some of those because you've wrangled all kinds of things in your lifetime.
Well, I have. I mean, I have a lot of experience with animals. I've done some animal behavioral training, the Tellington Touch method. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but that's a method of animal training that I had some professional training in. And then I also have always had dogs. I ride reining horses.
Yes.
I show reining horses.
Yeah, you're
I have
you're a
two.
great rider.
I used to ride eventers and hunters, and so I've grown up with horses.
Yes.
So it's once you know animals really well, it's not that hard to make them respond to you. I don't think.
You worked in a zoo.
And then I did work in a zoo too.
Isn't
Also,
that
I almost
crazy?
forgot. I was the
Yeah.
snake. I was the snake handler at the zoo.
Oh,
I was
that's
yeah.
amazing.
I don't know if I worked at the zoo. I volunteered at the zoo, and I was late in the ball game because I had a friend who was doing it. I was like, oh, that looks like fun. So I came in and interviewed, and they're like, how are you with snakes? I'm like, oh, I don't do snakes. And they said, well, that's all we have. So
you did.
I spent
You
the
did
summer
snakes.
doing snakes, so that was fine. That was actually, snakes have their own little thing going.
They
so
do, and they
they
really
do.
do have interesting personalities. A couple
Sort of,
years ago, I was doing a show, and I had never handled one of those large boa constrictors before.
Right.
And when they brought them in, it was a little intimidating, actually, because the things are just
Well, they have
massive.
big mouths.
They have huge
teeth,
mouths,
yeah.
and they have the capacity to squeeze you to death, especially
They have
around
that
your
too.
neck. So there's a
They
little
have that
problem
going for
there.
you, yes.
But actually, the trainer, the snake handler, told us how to do it, and it worked out fine. Now, horses and dogs, slightly different situation.
It is.
I have looked on your beautiful website, and I loved it because you chose
Thank you.
actually on your blog, you chose the best of 2012, and then you captioned the photos.
Yes.
That's well worth looking at. Now, how, of all of the jobs that you have done, would you have been able to just choose those few?
It was just funny. I just
The
went
best
through,
dog.
and there was one that was the best smile.
Yes.
There was one dog that had definitely the best time. Like that dog would have wanted me to photograph him for like 9 hours.
Yes.
I mean, he did not want to
He's a
leave.
ham.
Oh yeah, and some of them, dogs have sort of their off button where I never like time my shoots. I don't schedule a lot of them per day. I do maybe 2 a day, one in the
Yes.
morning, one in the late evening when the sun is nice. And
Yes.
I never, stop shooting until the dogs are ready for me to stop shooting, which they are. At one
Yeah.
point, they just say, "Okay, I'm done with you." Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm done with your
Finish
noises.
Dinner time.
I'm done with your nonsense. I'm done sitting. I'm done staying. I'm done jumping. I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. So, and then
you have to
you know
stop.
it's over because I've completely lost them. But up until that time, you can just keep going and get everything that they want. So.
And I have an enormous pack of animals to choose from.
Do you?
And it just so happened that I was up at the park one day, and our Metro Council person, Tina Ward-Pugh, needed some dogs for a photo shoot. And so 2 of mine starred in her campaign literature, which said,
Nice.
Tina Ward-Pugh, friend of people, parks, and pets.
There you go.
And she said, how am I going to get these dogs to pay attention? I said, all you have to do is hold the ball up. Why, it's going to be totally yours.
It's usually something, like with every
One
animal,
thing.
there's something, or there's multiple things, or, sometimes people come to me, a lot of times I say, I've never gotten a good picture, I'll never do it. But once you get the hang of it, of doing it over and over again, it just kind of comes naturally.
Have you ever thought of doing seminars or teaching classes to people who want to learn
I
how
have
to
thought
do
of it. I just haven't been able to fit it in my schedule yet, but I have thought of it.
Well,
Yes.
you have a few things going
I do.
on, right? You've got a
I do.
husband.
I have a husband, I have a
child.
son. Yes, I have a child.
And he's probably involved in a million things. Is he following in
He
your
plays
footsteps in any
lacrosse.
way?
He loves photography. He
Good.
does. He's very good at it, and he plays lacrosse, which is not something I've ever done or ever intended to do.
Does he have a
He's
fascination with
goalie.
weather?
He does not. No.
Interesting.
I know. I hate that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, look at this storm coming. Because it's fun because I know
I
you
know.
probably have the same experience
the
where we
same
didn't
thing.
used to get to watch thunderstorms when we were actually doing the weather.
Exactly.
You never got to see them.
No, 'cause we're buried in the building.
And if they're coming, you got to go to work.
Yes.
So now it's like every time there's a thunderstorm, I
You're
just want
running
to run
outside.
out and look.
Yeah,
And
me too.
Yeah, and Jake is like,
Look at the
oh,
Mamadas
whatever.
clouds.
Yeah.
What are Mamadas clouds, say the neighbors.
Thank you.
Well, let me tell you. I love the fact that, and how old is he now? by
He's
the way?
15 now.
Oh,
I know.
He
It's so
stole my
sad.
heart.
Everybody's like, I remember when you were pregnant. And I'm like, well, how could you
Exactly.
forget? I was like the largest person on the planet.
And boy, that weather key, that really helps to make.
Well, I
you
had
weren't
him
pregnant
shooting
when
me
you were
from
weather.
about the second chin up. So it's basically my giant head and my giant hand coming up. I was like, you cannot zoom out on me.
Did you ever tell Jake that you didn't have to bother to have any kind of radiography when you were pregnant
Right.
because everything was on television?
Yes,
His
yes.
entire pregnancy, his birth, all
It
logged.
was all on television,
Yeah,
yes. Well, not
pretty
his
cool.
birth.
No, not his Although I remember we saw you
I'm going to start
after
punching
the
in
fact.
YouTube trying to find that.
And then they'll turn up Diane Sawyer, which was really bad recently. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Hound and Hoof Fine Photography and the blog, which is really cool. And I think you
Yes.
call it something slightly different. Hound and Hoof
houndandhoofblog.com.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just houndandhoof.com or houndandhoofblog.com, or if you forget that, you can just type in Beth Andrews Photography because it all hooks into the
it all
same
goes
place,
to the
yeah.
same place. And, really, it's a great opportunity if you want to document your animals to have somebody do it professionally.
Well, I think it is a fine opportunity for all who want to document their animals.
Even though we don't
Yeah.
drive sales on public radio, I have to say, I would like you to photograph my dogs.
Oh, I would love to photograph
I
your
think it
dogs.
would be really cool because they do. Here, let me just show you. Let me just pop down this little screen, and I'll show you the last picture that I took of the 5 of them.
Oh, my goodness.
Here
yes.
we go. And
Well,
it's probably not going to be visible to our viewers.
I think I can do better than that.
I'm sure you can.
I'm pretty sure. I'd be willing to bet
That's
on it.
Gracie and Wyatt
They are
and Haley
sweet dogs,
and Brady
though. Look at
and
them.
Emma Lou, the
Look at
coon
that.
hound
Oh, my
that could.
goodness.
Yeah,
Adorable.
they're pretty cool
They are
animals.
adorable. I would love to.
I think it would be so much fun. And we can check out Beth Andrews Photography or Hound and Hoof Fine
.com.
Photography.
Yeah,
Houndandhoof.com, houndandhoofblog.com. All fun, all exciting.
Yes,
Thank you
it's
for
all
coming in
good.
and
Thank
sharing
you for having
with me.
me. It's so good to see you
Great,
again.
always great to
Yay.
see you. Now, Jake is waiting for his pizza, I'm sure, or whatever.
Probably.
He's having for
He's
dinner.
waiting to be picked up and rescued from the tutoring center, so I guess I have to head out.
That's really good that you put him in to do something that was worthwhile while you came on and talked about
Yes, he's doing his homework.
your fun
he's
stuff.
diligent, yes.
Very good. I love that. So much to talk about, so little time, but
I
thanks
know,
for
but
coming
it's
in
great
and spending
seeing you.
time
Thanks
with
for
us.
having me on, Tara.
Great seeing you, too. And coming up in just a moment, Brenda Haley from Frames of Mind going to be with us, and we want to thank Stephen C. Galt Company for their sponsorship of Take It From Tara.
This show is sponsored
Thank
in
you.
part by
Good to see
Stephen
you.
C. Gold Company, offering sales, leasing, and land building development, all in one place with industrial solutions to meet your business real estate needs. Located at 4011 Gardner Point Drive, Suite 200, Stephen C. Golf Company specializes in the sales and leasing of industrial real estate and serves clients through build-to-suits and land development, including the East Point and South Point Business Centers and Watterson Business Park. 502-451-1122. Stephen C. Golf Company.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Brenda, Gary, Brenda.
we met.
Hi, Gary.
Yes, we've all introduced ourselves many times.
we have.
I tell you what, she's an amazing woman, that Beth Andrews.
I'm telling you.
She's fun,
Yes.
and she's a little crazy.
Well,
Because you have to be to take pictures of horses and dogs all day and not lose your mind.
that is the truth. That is the
How
truth.
many animals do you have, just out of curiosity?
I have one.
Okay, smart woman. Gary, note that.
Yeah.
Very smart woman.
Smart dog I have.
Really? What's
Yes.
his or her name?
Her name is Lucy.
Yeah.
And she is a treeing walker coonhound.
Oh, I've got one of those. Believe it or not, Emma Lou is a treeing walker coonhound.
Oh, my goodness.
Can you believe
so
that?
you know all about them.
Well, I have the strangest dog in the world. We have the strangest dog in the world, I should say. I'm going to blame it equally on Terry. So but tell me about Lucy. What's her strange proclivity?
This is the first time experience with a hound dog.
Ah,
And had no idea how affectionate they can be, how smart she is. But the best thing about her is her sense of humor.
yes.
I just love going in another room and she stalks me.
Yes.
And, just slithers real low and,
Does she do the play bowing a lot?
she does.
We call it the four-wheel drive, when all of her feet go into motion and she starts galloping around the house and the other dogs look at her like, what's the matter? Her ears are flying. One night she went running in the country and we couldn't find her. And she ran through the security lights of this building. and we saw her and we're calling her name, Emma, come back, come back. And she's got ears a-flying and hoofs a-flying, her feet or whatever. And she's like, forget you, I'm not coming back.
If she could laugh, she would have
The
been.
next morning at 6 a.m., she was like an old drunk back on the porch in her bed.
Oh, my goodness.
We didn't think she'd ever come back.
You know, I have heard that they do not, once they start running, that they're not good about returning.
No.
And this one was a stray. So
Yeah.
we adopted her about
Yeah.
14, 16 months ago.
Wow, good
and,
for you.
She's about 4 years old, 5 years old, and we just love her.
Excellent.
So,
Well,
yeah.
Emma's about 10, and she went on
my.
a long journey last year and got hit by a car, and we got her back only after she was hit because nothing was going to stop her. But she's 100% now, so it's all
Wow.
good. Maybe
Good.
we should talk about what you think is really your area of expertise, and that is, you'd never know it. You and your partner have a wonderful business called Frames of Mind, and I just want to hear about what you do in the first place because you really help people to preserve their personal memories.
That is our number one goal. We started here in Louisville in 2007. And my partner and I were former bankers, for goodness sakes, and got into this.
Amazing.
And we're self-taught, although I did some schooling outside of Louisville. In addition to the usual processes of custom frame shops,
Yes.
we focus on 95% of our frame moldings. They are made in the United States.
Great.
And we feel a little unique in that area, at least here in the Louisville area. And we purchase directly from the companies who have forested the American ashes, the walnuts, the cherries,
I love that.
poplar, oaks, all of that.
Yes.
Some of them even, those woods come from LaGrange here in Kentucky, one of the companies we buy
Nice.
from. So there's a little bit of homegrown wood here as well.
Wonderful.
So focusing on those kinds of woods, and these are companies who, when they go in and they forest the woods, they replenish as well. We make
Excellent.
sure of that when we deal with the company.
Lots of new replanting.
Absolutely.
Love that.
We also in the shop do computerized mat cutting.
Yes.
And what that enables us to do, not only be just ultra creative, we can
Yes.
do anything with a mat, anything you want cut, but it also enables us to use all of that mat board. So our scrap there is minimal.
Good.
Yes.
Excellent.
Another service that we offer that really focuses on the preserving of our customers' memories is digital photo restoration and digital photo archiving.
As opposed to keeping all the paper pictures.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't say that word.
Well, I tell you, you could sum that up very quickly and say, just get rid of the cardboard.
Exactly.
You know, one of the worst things you can do to pictures, and I'll use the word negatives, and there's a certain part of your audience that's probably going,
What's a
Mom,
negative?"
what is a negative?
I know.
But
Get rid of the cardboard.
get rid of the cardboard, and if you have something you're storing in a tube in the back of your closet, please get it out of there.
Yes,
That is
exactly.
one of the worst things you can do to a poster, a print,
Yeah.
a photograph,
Yeah.
is to store it
We're all
that way.
guilty. We're all absolutely guilty.
Cardboard is nothing but acid.
Yeah.
Anything that is made from wood contains lignin, and that's nothing more than a natural chemical coming out of wood, but it turns into acid.
Amazing.
So lignin and acid that's there automatically in cardboard, it just destroys pictures and prints and posters.
So you can take all of these things and you can scan and digitally archive these precious memories of our grandparents, great-grandparents, whatever we've got, the kids, the dogs, whatever we want to save. And
Absolutely.
you're getting rid of paper and you're archiving them on what kind of a medium?
We can do a high-resolution scan on photographs
Okay.
and on negatives as well. So we
Great.
can scan from a negative, and you may look up at a negative in light and think, oh gosh, is this even still good? Could
Yeah.
a picture be created from this?
Yes.
We can scan your negative and show you on a monitor what's there.
Wow, that's
If
amazing.
the image is still there and if the image can still be printed.
Nice.
But in the digital photo archiving, we can scan high resolution to a DVD,
Nice.
to a CD-ROM, to a flash drive, and also encourage our customers to use one of the cloud services
Absolutely.
that's offered by, Yahoo or Google or one of those.
So once again, you're saving paper.
Absolutely.
You're keeping things clean, and by keeping it electronic, you can also disseminate it so much more quickly.
Yes.
So what if we've got a birthday? What if we've got a sudden death in the family? What if we have just a desire and a need to spread our family history and origins throughout the members of the family? Do it on email.
Yes.
Quickly.
Yes, and we do a lot of that.
I love that. That's fantastic. Now, just a couple of things that really impressed me about reading about what Frames of Mind is all about. First of all, you guys are using really, really high energy bulbs and all that kind of stuff in your work.
Yes, we do.
So we're going CFL, and you're using tube lights whenever they're practical.
And we're going away from the CFLs now. There's a little controversy
Sure.
tied to those in that when one burns out, what do you do with it because of the mercury?
Exactly.
So getting away from that, we are going to the LEDs.
Okay.
And totally away from the halogens in the shop and going with daylight LEDs, I might add, because
Wonderful.
that produces natural light.
Yes.
And in framing, you don't really want to be off on your colors.
I love that. And using all of the leftovers that you have from your mats and your glass and things like that, moldings, to make new frames. And what a great idea. If you've got stuff sitting around the house and you don't know what to do with it, use it to create something wonderful.
Our leftover wood molding scrap, as it would be in another shop, at our place, we take that, and we take our scrap glass and scrap mat, whatever small pieces we have left, and we make 4x6, 5x7, 8x10s, and we give those away in our shop to our customers. We don't want them to go to Target and Walmart and those places and spend their money.
We want
They
to
can
shop
get their
local.
free frame from us, and it really is out of custom molding. It's been a
lovely.
big hit. Our customers really like that.
I bet.
So,
And one of the things, besides reducing and reusing and recycling, the craft paper, the glass separation paper, the cardboard, the bubble wrap, the styrofoam packing, you're actually asking people to just reuse that, not cast it off, not throw it into the landfill and add to the waste stream. You're also using recycled printing paper, and you're getting all of your metal frames cut to size to eliminate waste on that, which is wonderful. One of the things that impressed me is you're donating a lot of your extra stuff to both the children's charity, and you're giving stuff away to artists who need to use the component parts of your leftovers to create their art. Talk to us about that a little bit.
we take our leftover mats, foam core, boards, any type of paper around the shop that we know shouldn't end up in a landfill.
Yes.
And we donate that to a youth services organization here in Louisville.
Great.
And what they do with it, they have a tremendous art program there and art instructors. And they turn around and use it in their art instruction, as well as create creativity among the students there.
Absolutely.
Our glass scraps we donate out to local artists.
Very nice.
And if there's any out there, just give us a call. We'll be glad to drop some off to you.
And I noticed on your website you actually feature a whole bunch of artists in your gallery. How do you choose those people?
Really, a lot of these have come to us through customers. We have 4 different mediums represented. We have a photographer, Ryan Patton, and he's a young man who goes to U of L, and he takes wonderful photographs of all the places he and his parents have visited, and they're just tremendous.
Excellent.
So we have a photographer represented.
Yes.
We have, I'll call her a charcoal pencil expert, and she is a senior in college right now in South Carolina, but her home roots, they're here in Louisville. Ashley Davis, and we've had great success selling some of her pieces out of our shop.
That is
They've
so
gone
nice.
over well.
Well, the thing is, it's hard for artists to get represented, get hung, get showed, whatever. So thank you for doing that for the artistic community.
We're glad to represent them, and we have a couple more. Jeff Gaither,
Yeah.
and you may have heard of Jeff. He's our forecastle
Yes.
expert.
Yes.
So he's big, and we're lucky to have some of his prints in the shop. He doesn't turn loose of those.
I
and,
love that.
And then we've got Sam Weisrock, and Sam is an acrylic person. So
Excellent.
these are all 4 local individuals, and we're just proud to represent them. And if we turn somebody on to their art, we just love it.
Well, check out framesofmind.biz right?
.biz, it is, B-I-Z.
Framesofmind.biz on the web. And you want to give them a telephone number to call if they're interested in some of that extra scrap that you have left over?
Absolutely. It's 502-493-9984.
Wonderful. And I am so excited about you guys and the recycling and the sustainability work that you're doing in the course of doing your business. So thank you for Frames of Mind, Brenda Haley.
Thank you, Tara.
Appreciate
Enjoyed
it.
being here.
Thank you.
I
Enjoyed
appreciate
having
it.
you. And we're going to keep you here for just a second because we're going to be introducing a couple of people that is going to require you to lock up your husbands and your wives, your boyfriends and your girlfriends, because whenever I go out in public with these two people, people look at me and say, those are two of the most beautiful people I've ever seen. Yes, they are. They actually are. It's Tanya Ablin and Will Heiser. They're going to be in the house in just a minute. And first, I want to remind you of how great Cree and Hetty are because they wrote the theme song to Take It From Tara. We're going to hear from them. We're going to hear a little bit from Gary Vitito. Coming back, Will Heiser and Tanya Ablin. Stay with us.
Fabulous. Thank you so much.
So much going on in this town. We're so lucky to have an expert around. But when you need advice on what's really going down, take it from Tara. With so many choices, it ain't easy. Get the bang for your buck, give your dollar a squeezy. The girl's got the answer, you better believe me. Take it from Tara. Take it from Tara. Take it from Tara. Take it from Tara.
Well, I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. I'm going to Louisiana, there my true love for to see. It rained all night the day I left, the weather it was dry. The sun so hot I froze to death. Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me. I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me. I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee.
Ah, the dulcet tones of Gary Vitito. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
I love that little take on Stephen Foster.
A little
And you have
different.
musicians here to appreciate the beauty of your music.
That's what I understand. Great.
Yes, Tanya Ablin and Will Heiser. So here was my introduction. Are you guys ready for this? He is a familiar name and face to all Louisvillians because he was famous here long before he ever hit the Big Brother stage. But now he's really famous. And it's nice to see that he's the same nice kid that I met well before Big Brother fame. So here's Will Heiser.
Hi. I don't get to hang around you enough. The positivity is just...
Well, you need to have somebody following you around telling you how wonderful you are in order to be, happy every day. And you do that for me, so I'm going to just return it
thank you.
for you.
Well, it takes awesome to know awesome.
And here's the other introduction of the day. Are you ready for this one?
Oh, I'm a little bit nervous.
You should be. It's because she is Will's newest muse, and I will use that term because he creates videos that are absolutely hysterical, and Tanya's portraying Brittany in the latest.
Spears.
And oh my gosh, I fell on the floor and was laughing when I saw it because it was beautiful and it was well done, but it was hysterically funny at the same time.
Well, the beauty of that video lies in Will's editing, his editing talents, not necessarily in my portrayal of Britney, but when he asked me if I would portray Britney Spears, I said, did you call the right person? You must have the wrong number.
Actually, you were
no
perfect.
mistakes made.
You were perfect. And the thing that was so much fun about it is that it kind of gave you an opportunity to go back to maybe your pageant days.
Speaking of
Yes,
Miss America
exactly.
this weekend, I thought of you.
No. Wasn't that a great show?
It was. I was a little disappointed in some of the talents, though, I have to
Well,
say.
yes. So you have to have talent to really appreciate
Who won?
talent.
Was it New York?
It was New York. Miss New York. And Miss South
wow.
Carolina was first runner-up. It's important to know these things, But anyway, let's talk a little bit about the two of you because you're kind of a fun pair. And when you see one, you usually see the other, which is always delightful because
Well, life is more fun with Will around, I have to say.
exactly right.
I always have a grin when I'm near Tanya Ablin.
I tell you what,
Right.
and I love hanging out with them because they make me feel like their mom, which is great. 'Cause somebody looked at me at Nancy's Bagels the other day and said, "Those are the two most beautiful kids. What does your husband look like?"
What a household that would be to grow up in.
It would be frightening, wouldn't it?
For all the right reasons.
So let me see, Will. You're getting a little hoarse. I'm a little worried about you.
I am.
You got a little throat going on there.
Yeah, the flu and all that stuff. And
I think it's called the bad decisions flu.
Well, it's because you're making so many personal appearances as a
That's
result
right.
of your Big Brother fame.
Yes.
And you're going to places where people recognize you, see you, ask for your autograph, have pictures taken with you. How does that feel? And what kind of got you to the point that you still can be a nice guy and experience all this fame?
Oh gosh. Well, I've been in entertainment since I was little, and I've had spurts here and there of, good things that have happened, and I just want to be an artist and make money, doing art, and the audience and the fan sort of stuff is just icing on the cake, and especially being on reality television and the show that I was on, Big Brother, being isolated, I had no idea that so many people were watching, and to come out and have such a positive feedback and knowing that people were watching and rooting for me is just like, it never gets old. It's awesome.
Well, we were sitting at home watching you and thinking, that's our guy. And it was really scary because we so wanted you to win, but we so wanted you to come back home.
That's true.
And there's a good side to that because you actually are going to, well, we're promoting you on Facebook. Everybody who knows you is saying, let's get Will back on a Big Brother All-Stars. What are the chances of that happening?
Well, CBS announced on Saturday that season 15 will be an extended season of Big Brother. So
really? That's great news.
Yeah, very good news. So you never know.
I love that. That's very exciting.
Never say never.
Never say never. And the most important thing is when you're talking to Will, don't ever tell him not to do something because he's going to take the chance and do it. And creating the Britney Spears video is a really good example of that. What was it like? Tell me what the concept was because I've seen it, but share it with everybody else.
I think that I consider Will a performance artist more than anything else. I mean, yes, he's a musician. Yes, he's a reality TV star. But he's really lived his life as performance art. I had the opportunity to travel to New York for Fashion Week with Will, and I was amazed at how many people would stop him to get an autograph and a photo and really just want to soak in all the energy.
Sure.
And so I'm sort of like those people. I love soaking in that energy. And if I'm able to then transfer that back out into the world, I'm not a very funny person naturally. I'm not at all. So
I beg your pardon.
It's true. It's true.
I don't hang out with boring people. I'm sorry. I don't.
So that was an opportunity for me to just soak in some of that positive energy and turn it into performance art. And I was taking a little bit of a risk because, I do have a professional career in town.
Yes, you do.
I think that Will's art can be provocative. It can be thought-provoking, but always entertaining, sometimes even a little bit dark.
A little bit dark. Watch.
Always entertaining in the end. And a satire, just has to be taken in as such. And so I was thrilled to be a part of it. And we're actually potentially working together on a new video that we'll be filming in Los Angeles in a few weeks.
Fun.
So I can let him tell you more about that.
I love that.
Word on the street is that Richard Simmons is going to jump in with us.
Holy smoke, in his little shorts and tank top, I'm sure.
On the streets of Beverly Hills.
Oh, no, that's
really
going to be
fun.
hysterical. Well, Tanya, I know how exciting it is for you to hang out with Will and do these fun things, but to earn a living. Let's talk about what you actually do.
Oh, well. I'm so lucky. I worked many years in public relations and marketing, and, as much as I enjoyed those jobs, I had a master's in journalism, and so it was one of those situations where I'd wake up in the morning and sort of have to give myself a little bit of a pep rally to get out of bed and get to work and do that 9 to 5. And so when I returned to Louisville from living in Chicago and Los Angeles, I was so lucky to meet Laura Snyder, the editor of In Focus Louisville magazine, and now I get to write about philanthropists in town and artists like the two I'm sitting between right now, or among, actually, the three I'm among. And also I get to do a little bit of fashion, which is something I enjoy. It's a dream come true. I never believe people when they say, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
But suddenly it makes sense.
Isn't that amazing? That's what you're doing right now, Will.
Going for it. But let me tell you, Tanya's like the triple threat.
Yes.
She's a fabulous writer.
Yep.
She's an amazing singer.
Yes, she is.
Comedian, actress extraordinaire,
and she's
and
beautiful.
dancer.
And you're beautiful.
You should see us break out the electric slide.
I can only
Head
imagine.
slide.
I am great at the electric slide. I will admit
really
that.
good.
Not to the other
She's
things,
really
but
good.
electric slide, I will rock it.
Well, and one thing that I need to thank the two of these people for, and among a million other things, is when Emma got hit, you were the first one who stepped forward and said, let's make a fundraiser. And Tanya produced a fabulous show, and it included many great artists and a ton of people who came and supported us and helped to raise funds to pay off that $13,000 vet bill. And if it hadn't been for you doing that, I don't know what we would have done, so thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, and that was fun for me, but I don't think it would have been possible without the many connections you have. I mean, Tara Bassett.
We all do.
You know everyone in the
Between
city.
the three of us.
If you don't know Tara Bassett, you live in a really sad place.
I would say the same about you two, but between the three of us, we have a pretty good black book. Will, you have fabulous parents and
Oh my gosh,
fabulous
amazing.
place where you go to work out, and a lot of us have experienced the workout at the Heiser Clinic. What are some of the favorite things that you do to stay in such beautiful shape? Because you honestly have a to die for body.
Oh,
Come on.
He's built like an Adonis.
He
really
is. He's an
the whole
Adonis.
Heiser family is actually.
Yeah, they are.
it's all good lighting. It's all good lighting. I don't know about that.
What do you do to stay in shape?
Well, I'm a big runner. I am actually getting ready to start training the Papa John's running team.
Good.
In a couple weeks. That should be really, really fun.
You're going to train all of the runners yourself.
Well, with Kirby Adams, who's a fantastic
also a fantastic
coach and
runner.
athlete. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're going to do it together, and should be fun. But, I always say working out, you got to do what you enjoy doing, and running is such a nice stress release, and I solve all my issues while doing that.
bet
And
you
who
do.
needs therapy when you can go for a run or get a cocktail?
And we've got, a couple of different groups of ages here. Let's talk about it. Gary and I are just a little bit farther down the road than you two.
We're right
speak for
behind you
yourself.
guys.
What do you think?
Catching up.
Oh, God, Gary, just throw me out on a limb there. Speak for yourself. What can we do for ourselves, both of you, because you're both fitness experts. You both know a tremendous amount about staying in shape. What can we do as we're gaining a little bit in the age, and we can't deal with the broken down knees and the broken down back and the running anymore? What are some other options for us?
Oh, gosh. I think number one, diet is always, you can work out as much as you want all day long, but diet is number one. And being in a city like Louisville, it's so easy to get local, fresh, farm-raised, and everything healthy, and being able to kind of view food as a destination or something fun as opposed to fast food. And
Well,
just
you go
as
out and dine constantly, so you know where all the
well,
great places are.
we are in Louisville. It's the best. It's the best of the best when it comes to restaurants,
And
for sure.
Tanya, we need to talk to him about his skin, because he has some of the most beautiful skin I've ever seen on a guy.
Gorgeous skin.
Yeah.
Right now, I feel like I've got meth faces, like peeling and stuff. But
We won't talk about
Have you
that.
looked at my face today? I've got zits and moles and like a witch.
I had the opportunity once, several years ago, to be in a tiny, complimentary supporting role in Cougar Town, which was Will's video about chasing young men through the streets of Louisville, and it was all cougars, meaning
One of my favorites.
old women who looked ridiculous.
Hot
But
women.
we had so much fun, and I have never lived that down. I mean, they aired that on my television show. You probably saw it.
I did.
I have people use it against me all the time, but it's a great gift to the community. What's coming up next for the Will Show besides Richard Simmons?
Oh, gosh. I haven't really started thinking about, we're working on a sketch. It's called Rich Women, and it's parodying, the 1% of those lovely ladies who go out to dine and have a wine lunch.
Real Housewives commentary.
Yes, where
Yes.
the biggest threat to their existence is the diamond shortage in North America.
Oh, no. And now, do I understand, and this might not be something I should ask you right now, but I'm going to anyway. Do you have any big plans for Derby that you can share?
Ooh, I have some big plans.
Because I've heard some rumors. Can you share any of it?
Yes, I am actually bringing in 4 other of my castmates from Big Brother.
Wonderful.
Janelle, Kara, who is the Playmate of the Year 2006.
Oh, my goodness.
Frank with the big red curly hair.
Yes.
And Mike Boogie.
You're bringing Boogie to Louisville? Oh, man, that
Watch
is
out.
awesome.
That's a big
Hide your
deal.
kids, hide your wife.
Yeah, that's what I said
Come
about
down.
you two. What are you talking about? So you got Boogie and Frank, who are a great duet. I mean, they were fantastic this year, but they scared me. They really scared me for you, because when you went to the Big Brother master bedroom or whatever that place is, talked to those guys, I just had this funny feeling that night. I thought, Will really wants to come home. He's sick of this garbage.
I felt the same
Did
way,
you feel
Tara.
the
I
same
really
way?
did.
Well, I had figured out, the main reason why I got evicted was I knew too much. I knew who was working with who, and
It's a good thing
and I
they didn't
wasn't,
kill you, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
Seriously.
Well, we're not allowed knives in there, so.
Oh, yeah.
So,
You're not even
you
allowed
have to kill me with a butter knife.
You're not even allowed pens.
No pens, no writing utensils. You can have a Bible, and that's the only book. But there's nothing to do but stare at the
Amazing.
wall and talk to people, and it gets old talking to those people.
Now, is it true, and they talk about these discoveries, how people are discovered. Is it true that somebody tapped you on the shoulder in a bar and said, do you want to be on Big Brother?
Yes, I was actually at Avalon at a fundraiser for the women's.
I think it was the Girls Leadership Louisville event.
Yeah, and
cool.
one of the casting directors happened to be dining and tapped me on the shoulder, and next thing you know, a month later, I was on the show.
Who, oddly enough, I happened to know because she was also trying to cast an actual Real Housewives of Louisville at the time and had contacted me about getting her names of women in Louisville who would be interested. And the funny thing about that, I will say, as a side note, is I had a lot of women lined up who were interested, but their husbands wouldn't let them do it. The project got dropped, but luckily out of that, my friend Charity, who is the casting producer in L.A.,
amazing.
cast Will and Big Brother, but totally separate from our friendship.
Sure.
She didn't know we knew each other until after she'd already seen him and tapped him, so it was...
That's
Well,
crazy.
Louisville is there's such a demand to try and get in the city, and especially with reality shows, because, we're a colorful bunch here in Louisville.
We are.
And you think of it, we got northern sensibility and southern charm,
That's right.
and just the right amount of crazy.
Just a little bit drunk, because you always like to say.
A little bit drunk.
Okay, last thing before we go, and I want to just have one of you, and Tanya, you can do it, speak so eloquently. We just joined forces to help our friends who came on last week, An Active Dog, Mark Baroni and Marina Dravan, and we're so excited about their event. We're actually going to have a cocktail party to showcase An Active Dog coming up February 7th.
That's true. And when Tara Bassett calls you with a cause that she believes in, you just don't say no. You don't. You show up and you listen to what she has to say. And so Will and I were fortunate enough to get to hear about this project called An Active Dog. And essentially what we have is hopefully a destination, an artist destination for people to come, similar to, I compared it to in my article that I wrote for In Focus, the Deportation Museum in Paris, or I think it was the Vietnam Memorial in D.C.
Yes.
5,500 dogs a day are euthanized at shelters who aren't behind the no-kill policy. And so I think we would all agree that was an astounding number, no matter what your politics are on the
Certainly.
subject. And that your friends have stepped up and decided they're going to paint 5,500 dogs and exhibit them, and I think that will have such an emotional impact on people in regard to this cause. And so we're happy to invite everybody out to the Melwood Art Museum on February 7th, 7 o'clock to 9.
No, 5 to 7.
5 to 7. Okay, I got my 2-hour increments
Yeah, 5 to
confused. 5 to 7, right after work. So come on down, and we're going to have some appetizers, some cocktails, and really just give people an opportunity to see the exhibit in progress.
Yes.
And hopefully be able to keep it in this city, because
Yeah.
it belongs here. It really does.
And Will and I both had emotional experiences because we have dogs of our own. You've got 2, I've got 5. You have animals in your house right now?
I'm of the feline variety.
Yes,
I have
well, that's okay.
two cats. I'm just not home enough for a dog.
No.
Well,
I'm not responsible enough for a dog.
Well, like they were saying, 5,500 dogs, but that's the
Twice
cats
as
are
many
like
cats.
twice as many for the cats.
It's terrifying.
Sitting down and just seeing a portion of those paintings, it inspires you. It hits you so hard. I just, was overwhelmed with emotion, and regardless of your politics, what you feel, this exhibit makes you think and makes you question, and I think we need it here in this city, and there's so much passion that the two of them have to offer, and
Yeah.
let's give it to them.
I've always thought art should provoke, delight, and surprise, and that exhibit does all three at the same time.
Amazing. They're using it as art for social change, and that's what we all love, and you write about that a lot.
Yes.
So you're actually doing an article for In Focus about An Active Dog.
I am.
I love that.
It was the biggest struggle with that article is that my word count was limited, and I wanted to say more and more
Yes.
and more. So the way I'll be able to say that is to just invite everyone out so they can see it for themselves, because I don't know that words can truly depict what you'll see with your own eyes when you see these
Which
things.
is why I wanted you guys to see it, because you can't really imagine it or describe it without seeing it.
You were right.
And our mutual friend and professional friend Angie Fenton has been kind enough to cover it on Great Day Live, working on a Voice Tribune article, and is a part of the entire event that we're going to have. So we thank her for the support she's given us, because she's a huge animal advocate.
She's done so much
Yes.
in the community
Oh my gosh. Yes.
for animal advocacy, and I think of the dogs that she's recovered and
Yes.
has find homes,
That's
and
right.
so we're really lucky to have her involved with it as well.
Absolutely. So thank you both very much for everything that you have done to help with that. But the fun thing about you two is when you show up someplace, everybody just stops and just stares. And I love that. It's like, stop in the name of love.
Well, they're probably looking at my weave. It's probably showing. That's probably what's going on. That's probably what's happening right there.
All right, where are we going to see you next besides the February 7th cocktail party? What's your next appearance? Where can we find you? Where do you hang out? People want to hang out with you two.
Well, you can always catch me on thewillshow.com.
That's true.
Will with one L, and this one making guest
We show up and do
appearances.
random karaoke a lot.
Kids random karaoke, Big Bar.
Big Bar is
A lot.
always a good place
Yep,
to find
yep.
Nancy's Bagels in the
Nancy's
daytime.
Bagel.
Yes,
Nancy's
yes.
Bagels,
Right?
Big Bar.
So we have a lot of our meetings to plan things.
Garage Bar.
The
you know.
Garage Bar, always fun. And thewillshow.com is the place to find all that entertaining stuff that we've been talking about and that will just make you laugh, whether it's in the office and you need a great break from the stress or at home at night. And make sure that you watch for news about his potential return to Big Brother. We're going to keep our fingers crossed.
Never say
And the
never.
big Derby celebration, which you'll be a part of, I know.
I will, and I do have to say, we don't do anything in Louisville without a cause attached to it.
Yes.
And so they will be attending the Julep for the James Graham Brown Cancer
Oh,
Center,
good.
which is a cause that is very near and dear to my heart. And
Yes.
so we're lucky to have them involved
And
with
also
that.
the Derby Festival. Stacey Robinson is helping pull all of this together. and
Wonderful.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's
so.
going to be fantastic. So, Tanya Abel and Will Heiser, thanks so much for taking
And
time
don't forget to
come
check
in.
out In Focus.
Yeah, and
Oh,
read
thank
In
you.
Focus magazine, because this month it's going to feature our story on
Yes.
an active dog.
So proud of that.
I love that. Thank
you,
both
Tara.
so
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a wonderful time. Gary, can you play for us for just a couple of seconds?
I can play for a couple seconds,
Hit
a
it,
couple
Gary.
hours, whatever you
Hold on.
Hit it, Gary. Let me get these guys out of here.
It's a little too laid back, maybe.
No, I actually, you didn't sing.
Do me wrong,
There he goes.
do me right, tell me lies, but hold me tight. Save your goodbyes for the morning light, but don't let me be lonely tonight. Sure.
On the mics, Kathy, we're going to do-wop. Here we go. Ready, Gary?
Yeah. Say goodbye, say hello. Know it's good to see you, but it's time to go. Don't say yes, but please don't say no.
Don't say no.
Don't let me be lonely tonight.
I won't.
Go away, then damn ya. Go on and do as you please. Yeah. You ain't gonna see me getting down on my knees. Undecided, and your heart's been divided. You've been turning my world upside down now. Do me wrong, or do me right now.
She's right.
Go on and tell me lies, but hold me tight.
Right in all the wrong ways.
Save your goodbyes for the morning light, but don't let me be lonely tonight. Don't you let me be lonely tonight.
Let you be lonely.
Don't you let me be lonely tonight.
Woohoo! Absolutely love that. Hey, can we do a Stephen Foster tune before we leave?
Sure.
What's the one that we love the most?
What do you want to do?
Pick one, because we got to hear the banjo, and we only have 3 minutes left,
banjo.
and he's been so
Banjo.
busy with the guitar.
Oh.
And in the meantime, I want to tell you that next week on Take It From Tara, the 21st of January, our musical guest is Take Two, and that is a fabulous new duo, and I can't wait to introduce them. Chris Hartman's here from the Fairness Campaign. Heather French Henry is fresh back from the Miss America pageant, where she provided dresses to several contestants from her Frenchie line. And we have an extraordinary dancer. She is a hoofer extraordinaire, I should say, because she did Broadway, and now she's teaching in Louisville. Gail Benedict is going to be with us to talk about her great career. And one of the bravest women I know, Sandy Montgomery, who has been fighting a death sentence with success for years, one of the most dangerous forms of cancer. And there's a really great possibility that we're going to be talking to some other folks who've been involved with her through her medical journey as well, all next Monday on Take It From Tara Live at 5. So, Gary, what are we going to sing? 'Cause we're going to join you.
Susanna.
Ready, guys?
I'm from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. I'm going to Louisiana, my true love for to see. Let's just go right to
Ready?
the chorus. Oh, Susanna, now don't you cry for me. I come to Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me. I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. I had a dream the other night when everything was still. I thought I saw Susanna coming down the hill. The buckwheat cake was in her mouth, a tear was in her eye. Says, I am coming from the south, Susanna, don't you cry. Woo! Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me. I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me. I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. And when I get to New Orleans, I look all round and round.
You were just
and
there.
when I find Susanna, I fall right on the ground. But if I do not find her, this fellow will surely die. And when I'm dead and buried, Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me. I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Oh,
sing us out. We want to thank all of our guests.
For me.
Gary Vitito of the Stephen Foster Story, who is fantastic. Brenda Haley of Frames of Mind. Beth Andrews of Hound and Hoof Photography. Kathy Schmidt. And, of course, Will Heiser and Tanya Ablin. We will see you next Monday live at 5 on Take It From Tara. Play us out with the Stephen Foster's famous song, My Old Kentucky Home.
The sun shines bright on my old Kentucky home. 'Tis summer, the children are gay. The corn tops ripe and the meadows in the bloom, while the birds make music all the day. Weep no more, my lady, oh, weep no more today. We will sing one song for my old Kentucky home, for my old Kentucky home far away.
Good night. Woo! Bye. That was so awesome. Good job, you guys. Nothing like that.
Going on in this town. We're so lucky to have an expert around. But when you need advice on what's really going down, take it from Tara. With so many choices, it ain't easy. Get the bang for your buck, give your dollar a squeezy. The girl's got the answer, you better believe me. Take it from Tara.